Hello, investors. It is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, November 12th, 4:22 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state, we still have that nice looking green uptrend there. If we take a look at the trend gauge on the right side, the four coveted green arrows. If you're new to watching the show, market leaders, this is just our analysis of the leading stocks from a wide variety of sectors. Green arrow means they're acting well. Short term, the indexes are trading above the 21-day EMA. Medium term, all indexes are trading above the 50-day moving average. And long term, this is the 200-day moving average, all trading above there. And the market never gets into serious trouble until we have a sustained break below the 200-day moving average. So what happened today? Well, it was I would classify it as a digestion day. Some pockets of relative strength like crypto and many of the leaders pulling back on lighter volume and just really digesting some powerful moves from last week. So here are the final numbers: 21 over 21 list up 0.15, 8 green, 1 flat, 12 red. Big 8 up 0.12%, RG8 down 1.34%. S&P down 0.29%, equal weight down 0.76, QQQ down 0.18, equal weight down 0.33, Dow Jones down 0.82%, mid caps down 1.05, Russell 2000 down 1.79%, 60/40 down 0.68%, in-house GROTECTION down 0.28%. Alrighty, let's get into the inter-asset correlation. As usual, the S&P 500. So like I mentioned, it's digestion day. We've been talking about that 59.50/60 level, and you can see here intraday right down there. That's where we pulled back to and saw a nice bounce back into this 6,000 area. But four days of higher highs and now just putting in a tight rest day. So good to see and not giving back much of the gains. RSP pulling back as well, but just very orderly after a very strong push. Any pullback to 182.22 would like to see hold. QQQ, similar thing. I mean, this is just extremely tight. Four super tight daily closes on here and holding above this 503.52 pivot along with that 510 level right there. Intraday, we bounce. Take a look at the 60-minute chart too, and you can see we're kind of just now building, looks like a new range here. 510 is the low end of the range, 515 is the upside of the range. So, a little consolidation in this box could set it up for a nice breakout through 515 higher, but can't complain. Good action. Mag 7 continue to move higher out of this nice base breakout and strong action from a variety of these names. Dow Jones pulling back, orderly pullback as well today. Mid caps, orderly pullback too, just as long as they're not giving up this whole igniting bar, what I would call it. It's in good shape, and the market needs time to digest after big moves. So I think consolidation up here is perfectly normal. What wouldn't be normal is if we just negated this whole move. Russell 2000, very similar look as well. Just kind of thinking that this needs to consolidate a little bit and kind of form a high tight flag-ish, or yeah, pull back into the mid end of this candle range, but we'll see. ARC, adding this in there because I think this is just where a lot of money's flowing right now. Look at the stage one base breaking out, and this is digesting too. This is also like a leveraged IWM, but you have a lot of, off the top of my head, you have names like Twilio, Roblox, Coinbase, Tesla, Square. All these names are rocking, and this supports ARC and that this could move much higher, just breaking out of this stage one base. So definitely a focus. The VIX continues to bleed lower, trading below 15. That's good to see. And when this is low, we mentioned that the range for the S&P 500 is going to be much lower. So that's great for trend following and swing trading, especially in higher octane growth stocks. can see smoother trends, less volatility, and the S&P you tend to see when the VIX gets low. This just kind of drifts up, and then you see that outperformance in individual stocks. Now the dollar, this is something we're still watching, and it just continues higher, but the market doesn't seem to care too much right now. And the progression of us talking through this on the videos was kind of cool to look back on, right? Because right here, the positioning was extremely short, super negative. I mean, like everyone was fully loaded to the short side. It undercut and reclaimed this level, and I believe some news sparked this initial rally higher. And that's just a textbook news failure with positioning skewed to one side in action. So, but this is a big move, 100 all the way to 106. So coming into some resistance here. So maybe this pauses here, pulls back, could provide some more fuel for equities. And with the strong dollar, it's finally starting to spill over into gold, losing the 50-day moving average. And this is looking like it's topped, a little bit short term, and it's going to probably need some more time to base if it wants to go higher. But relative strength line falling off a cliff recently, back below the 50-day, and the 8 starting to cross below the 21-day. And if it's your thing, dust is a way to play the short gold, and that's DUST. I'll show you if something you're interested in. Alrighty, GDX again, once it lost that 40 level, has been straight down, coming back into the 200-day. From failed moves come fast moves. Was looking like a minor breakout here, and then boom, all the way down. Silver again, same thing. These whole commodity complexes, dollar strong, silver moving lower as well. Bitcoin, the place to be right now. The market leader, in my opinion, especially when you look at the action of MSTR, Coinbase, etc. And this one continues to power higher. Indexes were flat today, but this surely was not another higher high. Volume continues to pour in here, and we've been talking about this weekly breakout. It is in full force. Tons of momentum in Bitcoin right now, so definitely should be a focus for you guys. Bonds breaking the 200-day. Same thing, TLT looks like it wants lower, and that coincides with the rates starting to break out of this, continuation flag-ish pattern. So we'll see. I noticed some weakness in some rate sensitive sectors today with these obviously moving higher. TNX up almost 3% on the day. So that's the interasset correlation. Take a look at the tail of the tape. And so let's see, what do we want to cover? So things to look out for into the end of the week. We have CPI tomorrow morning. That can tend to move small caps quite a bit. And then we have PPI Thursday. And then I'll cover, we had some more earnings, and, still a lot of earnings in the bulk of the earnings season. And it's been really, really positive so far. So hopefully that can continue. Keep an eye on 59.50, 59.60 on the S&P 500. That held on today's pullback, along with the QQQ versus 510 support, and then rates and dollar. Just they continue to be strong, but we're going to monitor that if they start to stall out a little bit. And then percent of stocks above the 5-day moving average, short-term breath oscillator, starting to get a bit extended, but not in like super extreme overbought. So kind of just ride the wave market here. And then into tomorrow, we're just watching those same things, just keeping an eye on those levels. We held them today, but doesn't mean that we can't lose them tomorrow. Day 2 of the consolidation, 6 days above the 8, 6 days above the 21. And leading sectors today, Bitcoin, uranium, software, tech, laggards, biotech, home builders, copper, silver, semiconductors. And, semiconductors are still showing some relative weakness. So that is something to keep an eye out. NVIDIA reports earnings in a little bit, but we'll see there. In-house today, we bought a starter in Tesla. We added on to Reddit, and we sold VKTX. So that brought our Revere adjusted beta up to 1.48 from 1.46 yesterday. So bottom line, market digests recent gains and leaders consolidate, and it's just ride the wave, raise stops, trail moves with moving averages, sell into strength. That's kind of the motto right now. So let's take a look at some charts of interest. Alrighty, let's put this. So Tesla took a starter in this one today, pulling back pretty orderly. You can see 60 pulling back into, this 320 level. And if you've studied Tesla moves in the past, when this thing gets going, it's a freight train with momentum and it's cleared all the major levels. So more times than not, pullbacks are very short and brief. So if you want to get onto this one, kind of got to be quick. But just pretty normal pullback. I mean, 6%, but look at the ATR, the stock, and look at the move it's made, like 40% last week. So very minor digestion after the move it's had. Reddit um, looks great, pulling back to the 8 EMA, building higher lows. This kind of has an ascending beige-ish look, but we've seen IPOs are hot, so definitely this one looks good. And if you can see, only 248 funds own this one. Fidelity Contra Fund owns this one. So in our view, this one is still under-owned. And when you start to see some filings from some of these funds, I imagine more are adding to it. VKTX just losing the 200-day moving average. Just a lot of people speculate this is a buyout candidate, and then it obviously had that news the other week, and that was a big gap up and reversal, kind of a news failure. We're seeing if it was going to retake these levels, but stopped out, very minor loss. So that's was in-house today. Let's take a look at some of the earnings. Shop reported yesterday, and it closed the day up 21% on 1,000% above average volume. Super strong coming out of it. This is a gorgeous base it's breaking out of, and it's finally starting to come back into these highs. Software, just the sector, the stocks have been exceptional. So definitely, I'll show you IGV. This is definitely an area of the market where a lot of people are flocking to. So keep an eye on some of these software names. They're acting strong. SE gapped up initially, it was up as much as almost 20%, closed at the low a day, but still looks fine. We'll see how it does tomorrow, but weekly, zooming out, tuning out some of the noise. This is breaking out of a big inverse head and shoulders base. I think this one looks really good for further upside, and they had a pretty good earnings report. Revenues grew, over 30%. So we'll see if it comes back tomorrow. Bros did something similar. It gapped up hard, closed low a day, and it came right back up. So that could be a precedent to watch moving forward. Owen reported earnings, gap down in 50-day, closed mid-range. This one looks like a nice base. We've been talked about the stock many times, but definitely still like it in the newer merchandise. Kava, we own this in-house, gapping up 16, almost 16% after hours, and this one continues to rock. And you hear all the fundamentalists complaining about this. Look at this PE, so expensive. But if you study growth stocks, the best ones get more and more expensive. Palantir is a perfect example. Spotify, this is another one. This one's gapping up 8%, coming out a really nice base. And something I thought of is that, with Joe Rogan and having Trump on with that Spotify deal, that's definitely positive for Spotify and brings a lot more viewership. So that could be reflected in the earnings report. Cart, we own this as well. This one's down about 3%, so not too bad. See how it reacts tomorrow. NTRA, this is a medical name. This one's gapping up 8%, coming out of a nice base as well. And I'll just mention Rocket Lab. This thing's been a monster. This one's up 25%. And space theme's been super hot, acting well. So that's that. Some notable stocks from today. Square, super strong after that earnings. This fintech sector is super strong. Nice volume the other couple days. Netflix is helping big tech higher. Initially gapped up on earnings, consolidated here, moving higher. Affirm initially gapped lower on earnings, held the 50-day, put in a monster day yesterday, and put in a nice tight high inside day. This weekly still looks fantastic. I mean, this one looks like has serious upside if it can really accelerate out of this base. And then Toast is another one. Another higher high off earnings. Really nice power earnings gap set up here. Some other names, EQT. This is natural gas related. Some of these are starting to merge. Got a double bottom base, so keep an eye on some of these sectors. And then LNG as well. This is kind of the leader absolutely ripping out of this space here. So two names to keep a watch on as well. And especially if you're super heavy in tech growth stocks, this could be a nice way to reduce concentration in certain sectors. Your uranium was strong today, forming a nice cup out of this cup and handle base here. Then you have CCJ putting an upside reversal at the 21, breaking this down trend line. And this is just, a really nice cup and handle base here. So keep an eye in there. Then weakness wise, semiconductors, just still no momentum. And this looks like a pretty big bear flag, but Nvidia continues to move higher, but just watch. Nvidia reports in 8 days, but I mean, this is right at all-time highs, so this is not concerned about the sector right now. Take a look at 21 over 21, MSTR, day two higher high, retook that high volume close from this day, and just best name to own for Bitcoin, really that simple. Toast, cover these. Twilio, this fits the ARC theme, right? Just monster move after this earnings, is trending higher. Mention these. Bros, really nice comeback after earnings. Obviously, it closed low range. We own this one, but coming back up. Deck, just in this flat base, looks really nice. Team, another earnings continuation pattern here. Sprouts Farmers Market, just a trender, man. Looks great. LNG, Palantir, digesting, given how extended these stocks are, they're not giving back much. I mean, this is 107% above the 200-day, 45% above the 50-day, but not really pulling back a whole lot. CLS, another one that's just trended really nicely off that earnings continuation. SMR, nuclear. There is some news with nuclear that by 2050, they're going to invest a certain amount. I don't remember off the top of my head, but kind of prompting these to pop up off the open, and they kind of close mid-range. Reddit added to this one today, right off the 8, looks good. Carvana just continues to trend higher. Dell just still in this flat base. See if it can break out of here, but this one's acting well, and obviously with SMCI's issues, this one should benefit. ALAB pulling back to the 8, and this one looks good. I mean, it's starting to consolidate flag right at these previous IPO highs, so it looks good. XPO, another, transportation name, non-tech, non-growth, really acting well. And then VRT continues to trend higher, and definitely one of the leaders. So yeah, a lot of healthy consolidations today, especially after the monster moves from last week. So no reason to fight the market, just ride the wave, and we'll see what CPI brings tomorrow. So that is going to wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. My email is Connor@Revere Asset, and you can reach out to Dan or Don at revereasset.com. Phone is 855-REAL-WEALTH. That is 855-732-5932. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client, please reach out. And with that, I'll wrap it for Tuesday, November 12th. This is Connor Bates with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. Thanks for listening, and have a great evening.